and I start walking over to my mailbox, and I get there and I open it and it's empty. I was robbed. Hey guys, welcome back. I know I have missed 2 weeks worth of episodes, but that means that we have a lot to catch up on this one. So go ahead and grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your fiber arts craft, and let's get started. Okay, so we last left off with me trying to figure out what to do for my dad's Christmas gift. We are now on 4 out of 4 gifts, so we are almost there. We are almost to the finish line. And I was debating between doing the single malt sweater and doing just the textured part at the top and then stockinette for the body and the rest of the sleeves, or doing it like brown at the top and then green on the bottom, or doing all brown or doing all green. And I was talking to Sharon from the TMC Clubhouse, and she mentions that she's not a huge fan of doing the same project twice, which I totally agree with. Since I am new, I figured I should expose myself to as many different patterns as possible so that I can learn new techniques. So that kind of gave me the oomph that I needed to buy the stick season sweater. And after I bought the sweater, I decided I don't think I'm going to have enough time to finish the sweater in time for Christmas. So I went ahead and went back to my original plan of doing the single malt sweater. So I casted that on, I brought it with me on my flight to go visit my family for Thanksgiving. And as I'm working on it over there, I keep looking at it and I'm thinking, maybe my dad's not going to like this, because I did have to hold the brown that I was using from the hand stomp sweater. So this is the Malabrigo in the color coffee toffee, and I was holding it double to meet the gauge. So because this yarn has like different shades of brown within the brown, and I'm holding it double, I wasn't sure if my dad was gonna really like it, because I know that he's mentioned before that he's not a fan of getting yarn that has like a lot going on and then doing a complicated sweater like a cabled sweater, because then he finds it really difficult to see the cable. So I decided, since I'm already there, I might as well just ask him, because it would be really heartbreaking to spend so many hours working on a project and then the person not wearing it or not liking it. So I went ahead and I asked him like if he liked the idea of, if he liked the way that it looked, and he said yes. Then I asked him about the idea of doing brown for the texture and then green for the body, and he was like, so nobody liked that idea. That's fine. I'll just make my own sweater that way. It's okay. So then I showed him the stick season sweater, and he said that he did like that pattern. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna try it. I told him that he may not get it for Christmas, but he said that it was fine, obviously. So as I'm working on the project, I had already asked the designer like a bunch of questions, and she was extremely helpful and super nice. But I had more questions and I didn't want to continue bothering her. So I've come on to here to see if anybody can help, because I have a situation with the pattern and I'm not sure. I've tried like looking on Ravelry to see if there's anybody else that had the problem, and they don't. So obviously I'm the one at fault here and need to figure this out. So I'm just going to show you kind of like the issue that I'm having. The project is worked flat at first, and so you are knitting the knits and purling the pearls. Now, here is my question. So we have row 1. We have row 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. Row 2, you're going to increase a stitch, so that's what that little dot is. So you're increasing a stitch. Now you're purling, because this knit that's here, when you flip it over, looks like a pearl, so you're going to purl it. So purl, knit, purl, knit. Then here's my question. So row 3, you're going to increase a stitch. Now this stitch right here is this stitch, and it asks you to knit it, because you're going to knit first. So you've increased the stitch, you're going to knit this stitch. Now this purl that's from this previous row, when you flip it over, now looks like a knit. So you can't knit and then knit again, because that would mess up the flow of like knitting, purling, knitting, purling. So what am I not understanding? What am I missing? Because I would really like to knit this pattern. I think it's a great pattern, and I don't want to continue bothering the designer. So because of that whole situation, I went back to my original plan of doing the single malt sweater, and I ended up having to buy more yarn. My mom's probably like, oh my gosh. It's okay. It's totally fine, Mom. It's fine. So I originally wanted to get the Juniper Moon Farm yarn that I was using, the Moonshine, but I wanted to get it in brown. So I went to the store looking for that, and I didn't find it in the color that I really wanted. It was really, really dark. So I went to a different store, and I found the Malabrigo in the color Capricorn. So this is the yarn, and it's different than, it's like darker than the one that I was previously using. So I don't have any skeins of it because I already winded up the yarn. And the reason I did that was because of this. So to avoid the problem that I had with the hand thumb sweater, where the top portion of the sweater looked different than the bottom of the sweater in terms of color, because I was using hand-dyed yarn, I wanted to avoid that for this project. So aka Nora Knits has a video where she talks about how she grabbed like 3 or 6 skeins of yarn, and then she splits them in half, and then she just kind of like combined them differently. That way the project has a smooth, even tone throughout. So that's what I did for this project. So let me show you what I have so far. I have this done so far. So this is our marker number 22. No, this is our marker 26. And I am really enjoying this yarn. I really love that you can see these purples and this lighter brown. I think it's coming out really, really nicely. I've already started on the body for the stockinette portion. And we definitely need to talk about this. I bet that you didn't notice that there's no line, okay? There is no noticeable line of where I stopped one ball of yarn and started another. And it's great. Like even the back, there is no like clear line like where I started a new ball of yarn. So that idea that aka Nora Knits mentions is a great option, because this top portion, like up until here, this whole portion right here is 3 different balls of yarn. 1 100 gram and 2 different 50s. So 3 different, and you can't tell at all that there is a new ball of yarn. And the actual like balls of yarn, some of them are a darker brown, or it has more purples, or it has more lighter browns. So this, I'm so happy with how this turned out, and that you can't tell that there is a like new strand or new ball of yarn in the project. So I'm really happy with this. And I also noticed that I prefer this texture where like this yarn over the solid cream color. So the solid cream color, I find it difficult to see the pattern, whereas here you can clearly tell. And I'm actually enjoying that a lot more. So if you plan on making the single malt sweater, consider like a solid color of yarn or a multicolored yarn, because I think the multicolored one looks more, it gives you like that this is like in your face, that there's a texture here, and that it looks like there's something going on. So yeah, I am really happy with how this is turning out, and I think my dad's going to really, really like it. So yeah. Our next topic of discussion is going to be a yarn haul. So I know that I mentioned in my previous video that there wasn't going to be any more yarn hauls, and I recorded that and I had already ordered this yarn. So I was just waiting for this yarn to arrive. So I haven't bought any new yarn aside from the brown that I just showed you. So let me show you this yarn. Actually, no, there is a story in this, and just grab your coffee and your tea and just listen to this, because oh my gosh. So I ordered this yarn in September. It was the Fuzzy Peach Fibers Hello Pumpkin collection, and I was so excited to have this yarn. Like, I could not wait to have this yarn in my hands, to touch it and feel it and have it in my apartment. So one day I get a notification saying that I have mail in my mailbox. And I had obviously ordered other things and knew that they were going to arrive on different days. So nothing was supposed to arrive on that Thursday that I got the notification. So I'm like super excited because I'm thinking that it's the yarn. So I go on and I start walking over to my mailbox, and I get there and I open it and it's empty. I was robbed. So I call my mom and I ask her if she sent something to me for a surprise or something like that, and she says no. I then call my boyfriend and I ask him, you know, were you expecting any packages today? And he said no. So I genuinely think that my yarn was what was stolen. And I'm freaking out because this is like hand-dyed yarn. It was part of a pre-order collection. So I don't think hand dyers have like extra yarn just sitting around because that would be expensive. So I am freaking out because I'm like, I just lost this hand-dyed yarn. I lost my money. What do I do? Well, there's nothing I can do. I can't do anything. So the next day I get a notification from Fuzzy Peach Fibers saying that she made a shipping label. Thank God that the yarn was not stolen and that she hadn't even sent it out yet. So I was so relieved. But the rest of the week, I'm sitting here wondering what was stolen. So one day, me and my boyfriend are eating, and I'm like, hey, I think the condiments that we ordered should have arrived. So we go down to the mailbox and to the mailroom, and we don't see our package. So I look on the app and see that it was delivered on that Thursday. So the robbers got condiments and not yarn. Whew. Oh my gosh. So it was just very weird because those condiments like should not have arrived until Monday. Like that's what they said that they were going to be delivered. So, and I never got a notification saying that, hey, they were delivered. So it was just a weird mess, but a happy ending because I have my yarn. So let me show you the yarn. So here is the pumpkin spice, and isn't this just the most beautiful orange? Like it's such a deep orange. The lighting is changing it. It was better before. I don't know what just happened. This is a more accurate representation, this dark orange right here. I am so happy that I have this yarn and that it wasn't stolen. You guys have no idea. Or maybe you do. Maybe somebody has stolen your yarn. I don't even know what would happen in that situation. Like, would the yarn dyer be able to dye more yarn, or would you just, I don't know, yeah. Like, what happens if the mailman comes and he leaves it out, let's say, and then it starts raining because you're not home to pick it up, like, and it just ruins the yarn? Like, I don't know, do hand dyers account for stuff like that? I feel like it would be really expensive to account for that, so I'm not really sure. But I am so glad it wasn't stolen. So I plan on making the Movement Sweater by Lily Kate France, also known as Lily Kate Makes, on Instagram. And is this not the most gorgeous orange you've ever seen? Like, it's so beautiful. I really, really love this. I'm not an orange person, but when I saw this, 100% had to buy it, had to have it. Oh. Our next yarn is called Midnight. And it's this beautiful dark greenish bluish color. And I plan on making a hat for my boyfriend and a couple of other people in my life. So yeah, I'm so happy. Oh my gosh. I was very distressed. Like I was crying thinking that this yarn was stolen. So I also would like to talk about something else. So you've probably noticed that I am not wearing a knitted garment. I do not have a lot of knitted garments since I am new in my knitting journey, but I also do not have a Christmas knitted sweater. So I've had my eye on two patterns that I've noticed on Instagram and would potentially like to make this, but not for this year. I do not have enough time. For next year though. So the first sweater is the mini Augustine number 8. And I really like the sweater. I think it's so cute, and it's not like in your face that it's a Christmas sweater because it doesn't have those dominant red or dominant green colors. But it does have those cute little candy canes and Christmas presents and Christmas trees. It is worked top down, and it's using size 4 USA needles and size 6 USA needles. And it's worked with 2 strands of yarn at the same time all throughout. The next sweater that I want to talk about is the holly sweater, and I believe the Woolly Worker is doing a knit along, and you could probably still join that. This sweater is so elegant and dainty, and I really like it. It has this beautiful wreath all the way around, and these like 3D little balls for like the little berries from the plant. And that one's also worked top down, and I think it's also using 2 strands of yarn throughout the entire project. So those are just some projects that maybe you guys would also enjoy knitting. I also would like to mention that I did get a microphone, so hopefully the audio is so much better in this video. And I obviously like changed my setup, so hopefully that's elevated your viewing experience. I do mention in my description box, I write out all of the patterns that I've mentioned, all of the yarns that I've mentioned are like linked below. I know it's a little bit difficult to navigate on the television, but it is there. And I think that that's it. If you guys have any questions for me or anything that I forget to mention in the description box, please let me know. Please comment and tell me what you guys are working on, what yarns you've been working with that you've really enjoyed. I would really like to hear from you. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and see you guys on the next one. Bye!